It definitely looks like at least he ran it over. We don't know if they were sitting up in the right angle, but definitely ran it over. So hopefully that's going to be enough to bring this slow speed chase to an end. Looks like he's getting back into a left turn lane right here. We're going to keep an eye on those tires. That's for sure. Even though those spike strips are designed to let the air out slowly, hopefully those tires will go flat very quickly. Definitely. Definitely, and this is what we really want to see. And those deputies, got to applaud them. Like I said, I just saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I was thinking that those were pedestrians, possibly somebody that was, wanting to get in the limelight. Thank goodness they weren't. Those deputies were just out there doing their job and doing it very well. Running out there, throwing that spike strip out, and retrieving it so quickly. Amazing work. We'll get you a location here in just a moment, but you can still see very slow speeds. And we basically made a big giant U-turn. We're going to be starting to head northbound now. That minivan driving even slower. Again, when this comes to an end, I'm just hoping that this just comes to a stop. The guy gets out, puts his hands up, does what he needs to do. I hope it doesn't become one of those long, drawn-out standoffs that we see so often, but definitely still slow-moving, northbound up here, and the deputies, a number of them behind them, a number of them in the area, one in the air. So they are really, really keeping an eye on this, and they really want to bring this to an end. And actually, it looks like we're actually making our way back into LAPD's territory, but the Sheriff's Department, they're not handing it off. And the other officers from other law enforcement, the LAPD, they're just kind of there, giving everybody the nod and making sure things stay safe. Well, that front tire, Sandy, for that vehicle, I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I would say it's going to be a front-wheel drive, so that drive wheel going flat is going to create some problems for the driver. Hopefully the van gives up before the driver does, and this just comes to a stop. The shadow's being thrown right there. We can't really get a good look at the other tires, but it definitely, Sandy, look at that. The rear driver and the front driver side tires definitely flat, and the driver, that's what I'm talking about. There you go. You can kind of see him. Just relax there behind the wheel like this is the most normal thing ever. You just got to kind of wonder when they take these guys into custody how normal this feels for them when they have the cuffs on and they're brought to the police station and they start realizing this is going to cost them a lot of money, this is going to cost them a lot of time, and you just got to wonder what they're, what's going through their minds. I've said that 1,000 times in the past, but in this case, driving very slow, kind of showboating there, and the Sheriff's Department, they have to deal with all the other issues. Keeping people safe, bringing this to a safe end, and it looks like he's kind of slowing down. So we'll see if this is the neighborhood he wants to give up in. Sandy, so well said indeed. But these officers down there, a break in the action is always something that makes a law enforcement officer's day go by just a little bit faster. But you are right, it is probably very frustrating to just kind of follow this person around and just keep an eye on him and hope that it ends peacefully. We do it up here but those officers down there, their job is to keep everybody safe. And you just got to wonder what they're thinking and how they deal with it. They are trained professionals, and they do their jobs so well. Taking this moment here just to try to grab a look at those other front tires, and it looks like the passenger side, both the tires are good, but the driver's side, he definitely has 2 flats. And ironically, there's a tire store right there. I don't think he's going to have the time to get those changed. Some are right there. Oof. No, I believe that was just a civilian pickup truck with many different colors on it, but definitely got very, very close to it. And we've seen those maneuvers with this driver in the past, and if he continues with those flat tires, that's going to be very, very dangerous. Obviously, that vehicle is losing more and more stability as those tires start coming off. The slowing down, the speeding up, hopefully that the vehicle is going to give up here. More spike strips were at the ready, those deputies right there, but unable to deploy fast enough or safely. Right now you can see an intersection with the cars stopping, and probably because they're hearing those sirens. And that's such a relief to see. That deputy right there driving, he's got his door cracked, so you know he just wants to get out of that car and take that guy into custody. You can almost feel that tension closing the door right there right now. But these deputies doing an amazing job right now, just keeping it together and following this suspect as he's driving very slowly at some point, but running lights and still making aggressive gestures towards other vehicles, which is very dangerous. I don't know for sure if this is the same intersection that we were at earlier, but it definitely seems like he's picking this one neighborhood, and we're just kind of driving through it. So hopefully he's going to pick a spot and just pull over. Well, if this guy gets out and runs, that's going to be the caveat right there. At least those deputies will have that ability to stop the guy running. Right now with that vehicle, they can use their spike strips, but I'm pretty sure they are not allowed to do that pit maneuver. Making our way back onto a major right there. You can see the traffic stopping for the line of deputies following this vehicle. And again, that those deputies, this is what they're trained to do. This is the job they chose. To go out there and protect the public and catch bad guys. This person, you might be looking and saying, he's not. He is. Believe me. This is a bad guy. He's breaking laws. He's putting people in danger. That's about as bad as it gets. And these deputies just want to bring this guy into custody. And he continues to kind of just slow drive out here, showboating around. And clearly people down there keeping an eye on what's going on. You can see cell phones out, social media happening, and looks like he's slowing back down again. Don't know why, but number of people out here this afternoon just kind of watching, spectating this slow speed pursuit. Right, and you don't want to speculate or guess, and that's pretty much what I'm going to do right now. But he clearly wants the attention, and how far will he go? And that's the scary thing. You just don't know what this person's mindset is. Right now, he's just kind of showboating around, piecing out people, driving around slow with his flat tires with the deputies in trail. But again, when you saw how he amped it up when he wasn't getting that attention he wanted, who knows how far he'll go? And we definitely don't want to see anybody injured. And he might just be like, oh, I'm just going to ram this car. We don't know who's in there. We don't know what condition they're in, and we definitely don't want to see anybody hurt. Yes, there's that as well. We haven't seen that we haven't seen any type of activity like that. But then again, that vehicle he's in right now continues to move, coming to another stop, and it does almost look like that same intersection that we were at earlier. Car driving there a little bit quicker, keeping an eye on what's going on. A number of deputies, they do like it when they are addressed correctly, just in those vehicles right there. So still slow moving, a lot of traffic right now, and this traffic actually might be because of the law enforcement in the area, just kind of stopping that, making sure people are safe, creating little bits of backups. So we definitely are in that same area. There's that tire store once again from a different angle. So he is making blocks. He is staying in this one spot. Hopefully this is the spot where he's going to stop. Yep, definitely. Yeah, that tire is done, Sandy, and it looks like he is getting a little bit more aggressive in his driving, probably making a lot of noise down there. We clearly cannot hear that noise, but definitely some noise going on down there, I am sure. The deputy's backing off just a little bit, maybe just kind of giving him enough room where he's thinking, oh, I hope that's not a dog. Enough room there to maybe you don't see, thinking, okay, if he doesn't see us in his rearview mirror when he gets back to that one intersection, maybe he'll think, okay, I can get out and run safely. And obviously they are right there in the air and on the ground. It's the first time we've seen him go through an alley, a blind spot right there, making his way back out onto that same area. And again, just making blocks in this neighborhood. So you've just got to wonder, this has got to be an area that he knows or where he lives. And a lot of folks out there, they hear the sirens, they hear the helicopters, and definitely getting them, and a lot of people home. So it's getting them out into the streets this afternoon. Well, this person's instinct probably not on cue this afternoon, but you're so right, Sandy. But another thing is like most people, you, I, if you get a flat tire, my concern would be how much damage is this going to do to my vehicle besides that tire. The rim is going to get damaged. Maybe it's going to start banging against the side of the car, and you just don't want that. And you're right. You just pull over as soon as you can and do what you need to do. Change the tire, call AAA. There we go. The tire's finally off. We'll see as soon as it is possible. I'm sure Marcos is going to get us on the correct side there, and we can see if it's the front or the rear. This is the time. If it was nighttime, we might start seeing some sparks coming out of that wheel. But we're going to keep an eye on it. His speed's definitely increasing, and that tire definitely gone. So he's definitely on the rim. A lot of definitely's going on out here this afternoon. But we'll keep an eye on it, and his speeds are picking up, and that just worries me. Every time he comes to an intersection, he's not going to be able to make those stops. Going against traffic. And you can take a look there. Looks like almost like both tires are gone. So he's on the rims on both the driver's side wheels. I would assume so. basically just running on steel right there, steel against the road. So definitely noisy, definitely. And, you know, what's scary about this, Sandy, is when he hits the brakes right now, you have the passenger side is still have tires on it, but the driver's side, those are just steel. And it's just a little bit of steel actually touching the ground. So it's going to create some maneuverability issues going back underneath the 110 freeway. Hopefully this isn't going to be one of the ones where they kind of jump out, but a lot of traffic. And I just hope he's not going to try to get that thing back onto the freeway. There he is. And he is. That is definitely the on-ramp to the 110. And freeway speeds with missing tires, it's just going to be so dangerous. And hopefully nobody gets too close to this vehicle this afternoon. But definitely getting onto the freeway. I'm just looking out the window right now. It looks like we're heading southbound. And this chase is definitely continuing now on the 110 freeway southbound. We just heard the airship, Air 21, Sheriff's Air 21. All the helicopters, law enforcement helicopters are great, but it seems like 21 is always where the action is. At any rate, they just called it out that they are going about 45 miles an hour this afternoon. So, and southbound on the freeway from Manchester, we're probably crossing another off-ramp here just in a moment or two. That driver rolling up the window, don't know why. Maybe the helicopter noise a little too much for him, but you got to think that those rims, very, very noisy. I'm going to go a little bit wider right now just to give you an idea what the freeway looks like. Take a look at that. It has been light because of the safer at home order that we are all obeying and following. And you can see a number of the sheriff's department out there just behind that vehicle. This would be a great time to do a pit maneuver, but the sheriff's law enforcement, they do not condone that activity, so they're not going to perform that type of maneuver on the freeway. But right now you've got pretty much an open freeway just because the traffic in front of it has moved off. The traffic behind it is being slowed down by those officers, and of course just add to it, light traffic this afternoon. Sandy, I really wish there was just that type of attitude where they could just jump back in. They would have to be in position, and then there would also have to be that formal, we're handing it off to the California Highway Patrol. We're going to back these units out. So it's not that quick of a transition. So right now, the Sheriff's Department, they really seem to want to stay with this. It really seemed like this was something they want. They want this guy for obviously maybe other reasons than what we've been watching, but they stayed with it the entire time, Sandy, in the air. They did drop out once it got well out of their area. California Highway Patrol had it for a while, but as soon as it got back in the Sheriff's Department, we all saw it. They got back on this thing as lickety-split. Transitioned. We're going to be westbound the 105 freeway, so we're going to be We're going to be getting up close to the Hawthorne area here shortly, and we'll call off these off ramps as he passes them. But his speeds seem to be pretty slow, and as far as freeway goes, he's going about 40-45 miles an hour. Running on two rims, as long as he doesn't hit those brakes or try to accelerate too fast, those rims might hold out for a while, even though they probably are aluminum. So they're definitely not the steel would be better. Let's just leave it at that. But that vehicle driving without tires, and you just got to wonder what all these other folks are, if they drive by and see this, they're probably like, what is going on with this guy? Sandy, you got to wonder if maybe he's watching us on CBS NLA, because as soon as you said that, he rolled down that window and put up the peace sign. At any rate, we shouldn't poke any kind of fun at this stuff. This is a very serious type of situation. People could be hurt. That suspect could be hurt. We don't want to see anything like that. Some other stuff coming out from underneath the vehicle there, possibly just remnants of those tires left on the rims, but more stuff coming out from underneath the vehicle. Also, as you lose those tires, clearly the vehicle is getting closer to the ground. You wonder if perhaps when he's bouncing, he might be scraping as well. Hopefully that vehicle will start to fail, and that driver will just say, okay, this is over. We haven't seen anything that indicates that yet, but just getting a little bit wider to see where the sheriff's department is, and they are behind him. They're definitely keeping an eye on him. We're coming up on the Crenshaw off-ramp. I believe that's going to be the Crenshaw exit on-ramp is going to be coming up here in just a moment. So definitely well established, the Hawthorne area, and coming up by SpaceX for any of those SpaceX and Tesla, any of you fans out there. But this is continuing to move along. About 45 miles an hour. Law enforcement in the air, on the ground. The driver just continues to drive and refuses to stop. Juan, and I don't know who your co-host is this afternoon, but I can tell you that this pursuit's been going on for quite a while. Reckless driving is basically what the vehicle was wanted for originally. Possible some sort of impaired driving as well. It's been going for quite some time. If you guys are just tuning in, you missed a lot. But right now, that vehicle, we're on the 105 freeway. We are westbound. We just kind of passed Crenshaw Boulevard. Slower speeds, and you can see that car is clearly, they don't have silver wheels. They only come in black, and right now I can tell you that he lost both those wheels when deputies did an amazing job with the spike strip. Looks like we are getting over. Looks like we're going to be getting off here in just a moment or two, maybe. Maybe he's just getting closer to that side of the road there. Maybe he's just going to pull over. A lot of maybes going on. But we've been watching as this vehicle has been swerving towards other cars, mainly close calls with a lot of pedestrians out there. Multiple agencies have been following it and trying to get it to stop. Right now, it's the Sheriff's Department, even though we're on the 105 freeway. Getting close to the 405. We got Marcos at the controls this afternoon, and I'm sure he's going to try to work some magic with the LAX tower. Hopefully, we'll be able to watch it depending upon where he goes. But you can see that car, and you just got to wonder, how much longer can this go on? Sharon. Sharon, good afternoon. Yeah, you know, they said impaired driving, and nowadays that could mean a multiple type of thing. So we're just going to go with impaired. But yeah, definitely some, let's just say some odd decision-making processes, besides the fact that he's just not going to stop for the law enforcement. You get a great shot there of Sheriff's Air 21 getting into the shot right now, also following along. They're actually the second helicopter from the Sheriff's Department to follow this pursuit. Earlier on, it was a different one, number 8, as it would be. They were following it for quite some time, even when no other law enforcement was behind it. This is something that we were talking about earlier on, California Highway Patrol. Now, seeing that officer behind that vehicle might indicate that they might be able to do some sort of pit maneuver, bring this thing to an end. Sheriff's Department, they're not qualified, or they are probably, the drivers are qualified, but the department does not condone pit maneuvers, so they're not going to do it. But the California Highway Patrol, they'll do it. We've seen them do it, and hopefully they're going to bring this thing to an end real quick. There it is right there, Sharon. He probably heard you. And he has been. And, you know, this is one of the things. We always, you know, it's Los Angeles. We all watch the pursuits. We all talk about the pursuits. And it is sometimes we watch and we kind of just lose the fact that this could be very dangerous. This could end in a way that we won't be talking about in a jovial mood. That driver clearly... as they said, impaired earlier on, making like weaving across all lanes, doing a bunch of crazy stuff. And when law enforcement wasn't behind him, Juan, Sharon, he was actually like, it looked like, I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, looked like he was actually trying to get the attention of law enforcement to get them behind him again, swerving towards cars, cutting people off, driving against traffic. Very bizarre attitude indeed. That was somewhere down in the South Los Angeles area. There's a portion of South Los Angeles still on it. Whoa! Whoa! There you go. There you go. And all on his own right there. Those were the types of maneuvers he was doing earlier on. You can see right there, because those wheels don't have tires, he just basically hit that center median, destroyed his vehicle, and now he's kind of doing the, well, now what? This is still a very dangerous situation. We don't think this guy is armed. We just think he's impaired. California Highway Patrol, the first one's behind him, but the Sheriff's Department, it is basically their pursuit. You can see a number of vehicles. Where are we? I think we're at Aviation or Imperial. Definitely going to be the westbound 101 freeway. You can see the suspect in the vehicle, not hurt. His reaction right away was just kind of like, oh, well, that's the end of that, but definitely not in custody. Sharon, you know, I'm a huge believer in karma, and it looked like it caught up with this guy very, very quickly. How is he going to get out? That might be the conversation that's going on right now. How am I supposed to open this door? There you go. Can't open that door. What am I supposed to do? Well, the deputies there, you know, I don't think they're going to be full of suggestions. They just want this guy out of the car. They may actually ask him to crawl across, or they might actually come over and help him through that window. At this point, though, that door definitely not opening. He seems to be complying-ish, if that's a word. Right now, those deputies, they've got their guns out. They may approach the vehicle. They may not. They just don't know. This guy, you know, he might have other tricks up his sleeve that we don't want to see. Right now, though, it's some conversation. And we're going to be out here on the 101 freeway, very close to LAX. The 105 freeway, very close to LAX, just past the 405 freeway. Well, Aviation and La Cienega. Right, let me take a look real quick. I don't think we're going to, well, maybe he's going to climb out. Hang on, I just don't want to miss anything. I was going to see what the traffic is doing. A lot of the traffic, if it slows down enough, they'll probably start taking them off the 405. You can see some other law enforcement. That is a optical illusion. They're kind of elevated. So those officers down there on the ground, so they're just kind of well below it. They can't render any aid. But these deputies and California Highway Patrol right now probably talking amongst themselves, how are we going to get this guy out? Hopefully he just climbs out the window. But clearly not in a rush to get into those cuffs. Definitely the airbag one. There's no doubt about it. That is definitely the airbag right there. That's about as close as we can get with the camera this afternoon. But you can see him just still kind of communicating, maybe being a little defiant, maybe just you know, having that same attitude. But that door definitely not opening. So the deputies and the officers from California Highway Patrol are going to have to figure out a way to get him into custody safely. And they have to follow rules. They can't let this guy wander around through the car, maybe pick up a weapon, whatever it might be. And so right now it looks like a little bit of discussion, but you know law enforcement's not going to let this go on very long. They want this guy in custody as soon as possible. You know, Sharon, that's one of those things, you know, this is what makes law enforcement or this part of the job so interesting and appealing to so many people. This is a situation that they've got to solve this problem, and they have to solve it safely. There's probably some discussion going on about how they're going to do this. Hopefully this guy climbs out the window. Even if he does, they're not going to approach until they see that that suspect does not have a weapon or is in a position where he can comply. So are they going to make an approach? They might. It depends on what information they have or what they know about that suspect, maybe what his past is. Clearly the other doors on the vehicle on the other side open, or you would think they would. So, you know, they might tell him, just climb across, go out the other way. But that puts them in a spot where they might not be able to see him as well because the vehicle's kind of at an angle.
And the other one right there? We can go there. Otherwise, they're in front of that flag or way over there, or behind them. So that's good.
And the shot many times ends up being over here.
Anymore. It's pretty much a standoff. You can see deputies covering the suspect, keeping an eye on him, and other law enforcement probably making discussions on how we're going to get this guy into custody quickly. Right? Got some nice pictures of 21. Thanks for that. Yeah, I was trying to grab pop off stills when he was coming back around and not just like shooting out of the frame. That was awesome. All right, Josh, you flying? Do you take a lot of notes? Write all that down? Don't be afraid of the other helicopters, but don't kill us. That's probably number one. I didn't hear it. Really? It was popping? Oh. I did not hear that. Who said that? Oh. Huh? Yeah. Tim Conway Jr. is all. I hope Fox is helping paying for your gas because they're taking your feed. Oh, that comms failure, though, man. What was that? So the only thing I can say, and giving this to Mueller and them is pretty much useless, but it happens when the aircraft is moving. Here, let me help you out of the car. Let me explain to you what we were talking about. This is how you get out of the car through the window. There we go. Boop. I don't know why that was so complicated. But anyway, it happens when the camera's moving or I'm looking at something and we move the same direction the camera's going. It's happened in the past, and it seems to happen always when that move is in progress. Yeah, he's very animated. I wish we could hear what he's saying. Oh, he lost his shoe. Yeah. Wow. And the map just froze up and took a dump on us too. It's so bizarre, man. I wonder what's going on. Oh, he did that to himself. He did that to himself. Get in there. My camera's got the coronavirus. The Cardi B one? Is that a roll of toilet paper? Oh no, it's wood. This is going to be the eastbound 105 freeway at the Avalon La Cienega off-ramp. Avalon La Cienega off-ramp, 105 freeway eastbound.